Oh, welcome everybody to today's CESI Inside edition. Today we are with Monica Semedo. She's a member of the European Parliament, a member of the Renew Europe group, so the Liberals, and she's a member of the Employment and Social Affairs Committee and the Petitions Committee. Mrs. Semedo, how are you experiencing at this current stage the corona pandemic? How do you experience it personally? How professionally? I mean, we all thought we were out of the woods and now we have to crawl back probably. What is your experience?
I will have to say and to admit that the work was not rather difficult for the last half year. And just yesterday, the president has decided to send all staff into home office, which doesn't make it easier. I think, but that's the situation workers have throughout Europe, and we all had to adapt. So it has shown that we really need more flexibility on telework and to adapt our working practices. And I think it was a great effort from people, but it has also shown its limits within the European Union. For example, I'm coming from Luxembourg, so a cross-border region, and there was the issue on cross-border tax and social security coordination, which was managed on an intergovernmental level, but not on a coordinated EU level. So that's why I sent several written questions to the Commission in order to propose, to ask for solutions, a coordinated solution. And the Commission finally now, after months, has decided to propose a teleworking agenda, of which we don't have details yet. But many professions, they can't telework. So what are the possible solutions or solutions that are needed to implement? So it's job security through short-term working schemes like SURE. Luxembourg just prolonged it until July, until 2021, yesterday. So it's necessary for each country. Nevertheless, how wealthy it is or its economic situation, because it's about people. It's about people and their livelihoods. It's about families, and it's about the whole European economy. So safe working conditions, of course, are still important. And we know that the crisis has an impact on companies and on jobs. So some people might, or many people might lose their job without now describing a totally negative scenario, but I think it's just realistic. And we should then really do everything to guide them to new long-term employment. They need our support. So we need urgently public investment in companies, and we also have to support people with good ideas at this moment to create new companies, and therefore they also have to have access, easier access to finance. So on the one side, support for those companies struggling. On the other side, we have to adapt an optimistic view, also look to the future and ensure growth in the European Union for all regions and countries.
So you're basically saying that we have to save employment, we have to guarantee public investment to save innovation and to save, of course, entrepreneurship. Ms. Semedo, you're also the co-chair of the European Parliament's Intergroup on Social Economy. How would you, in a nutshell, because it sounds like very easy, but sometimes the more you think about it, it can get tricky and more complicated. How would you, in a nutshell, describe what social Europe would mean?
Yes, referring to my co-chair mandate, or let's say on social economy. Social Europe for me is centered around the European pillar of social rights. And we have to make sure that the transition, it's the climate neutrality, it's digital, it's the demographic change, and of course the recovery from the pandemic, that it's socially just and fair for everyone. So the pillar sets out 12 key principles, and they are structured around three chapters. So equal opportunities, access to labor market, fair working conditions, and social protection and inclusion. For me, inclusion is also very, very important at these states. So to get out of the crisis, to generate recovery, build resilience, and we have to guide economies along the path of transition. So this should not happen at the cost of the poor people and the poor regions. It has to be inclusive and fair. And that's why it's also important to talk to stakeholders, to all stakeholders who are acting on the ground and know where the problems are, so we can find solutions for a fair transition for all.
So also what you're saying, if I may summarize, it's for you, it's inclusion, it's solidarity, it's resilience, it's cohesion. But coming back to inclusion, we all know that the COVID crisis has hit, but will continue hitting women disproportionately hard. What do you think should be the next steps now to be taken either at EU level or at national level to make sure? I'm always quoting Simone de Beauvoir, who said that there's just one crisis is enough in order to question again all the acquis in terms of gender equality. What are the, according to you now, the most imminent or urgent steps to take in order to avoid a considerable setback when it comes to women's rights?
I think women have fought for decades to improve their position. They strived for more equality, and also in many member states and in the EU, they achieved already a lot. So as you said, it is an acquis. But especially women are disproportionately hit from the COVID pandemic. For example, they lose their income, telework, or lose parts of their income. It's like that. Telework, take care of their children, do all the domestic work or household, and they earn already less. That's a fact. They earn less. Women earn less than men. This is an inequality we should also fight against. And when they have a family, often women drop out of the labor market. So that's also already a danger. And women also make up the majority of the single parent households. So these are important issues we have to work on for more equality. And in addition, during the pandemic and the confinement, and that's horrible. Domestic violence has risen, and we should protect women and young girls and their children from this situation. So I think we have to make really sure that we don't reverse the gains of women of the past decades. The EU could help, can help, and should help. And it's urgent. So we have to recognize women's contribution to the society. And we have to not only strive for equality, but really now take action. And we have this gender equality strategy, and it should be implemented. And we really have to stick to it. And one of the points, the main points, and the other main inequalities, I mentioned it already, is for example, the gender pay gap. And we are 2020. Yeah. It's time that it's really the fact equal pay for equal work for women and men. And we should, and the Commission should really work on it, as well as she has the support from the Parliament. But it's time to act now.
Yeah, Ms. Semedo, we just had, for your information also this morning, just our FAM committee meeting, and it was indeed the issue of the Women on Boards directive or directives or the pay transparency dossier to bring it forward. And for us, it is also a matter of really increasing and improving the fight against precarious work, because we know that very often women are also in precarious work contracts and hence particularly hit by the crisis. We have to, as you said, we have to be fast and not to lose too much time. We speak of another vulnerable group, the young. I know that you were co-rapporteur for the shadow rapporteur on the reinforced youth guarantee. Do you think this reinforced instrument, I think it was quite topped up to a certain extent, is really up to the task to prevent, as it is often said, a lost generation? What are your views on this?
Yes, as a co-sponsor, it was very important to me, and I was glad that I could work on the reviewed or reinforced youth guarantee, because also in Luxembourg, youth unemployment is rising. It's at 26%. That's a novelty, and that's a problem. Also, government recognizes, and yesterday in his speech, the Prime Minister also said to take action against. It's a serious problem, but Luxembourg is not the only country. Unfortunately, it's a problem throughout Europe. So that's why it was important to widen the age to 29 years, because we have this whole generation. And we have now to give them, to empower them for the future. They had already hard times with the crises before. So we should really support them. And also in order that they still believe in the European project and that they know that they are not alone. So the widening of the age range to 2029, I really fought for that the youth guarantee is not just used to improve statistics, but that it's there for young people and guide them to a long-term employment. This is the important thing. This is the security they need, and act more preventive, so preventive action. So before young people, they often have for 1-2 years, they are struggling, they want to leave school, and it's there where we have to get them and guide them. Maybe they want to learn a job, maybe we can convince them to stay in school or find alternatives. But it's important to have this preventive action. It's better to do it before a problem is so big that you can't really find a solution. So also giving chances to young people was important for Renew Europe to have in the resolution. Now member states, I hope and I really call on them to take that into consideration. It's about, we are talking about the Commission of Last Chances and Next Generation EU. So let's also do everything we can to strengthen this next generation EU and to keep our promises.
That's a nice thing to say. You spoke about the European project and that we should keep our promises. We, the trade unions, are trying to keep our promises also, especially as you mentioned, to help young people to have the steps from the education or the training into the professional life. Ms. Semedo, as a concluding remark, what do you think is, in your view, the work or the role or the importance of trade unions now maybe more than ever?
We are in an unprecedented situation. And social dialogue is important. So policy makers, they can set the boundaries and the structures, but a solution is always more acceptable if both parties, so trade unions and policymakers, have agreed and find the best compromise for all. And I would also say it adds to social peace. It's what also Luxembourg experienced in the 70s and also during the financial crisis, also now during the pandemic. It's important to have a social dialogue and to listen to all parties of the society. Systems are different throughout Europe, we know that. So my message is to foster dialogue between social partners and politics. And yeah, time is pressing. We have to find quick solutions and the best ones for our citizens. And I think working together is the solution for that. So we will find a solution together.
Semedo, let's work together. Let's find a solution together. All the best to you. Lots of success in these difficult times, and hope to see you soon again.
Yes.
Goodbye. Huh?
Merci. Au revoir.
Au revoir.